Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now I have no idea which verse it is that we're... Okay, 10th canto, 78th chapter, and the 5th verse. We'll use a different pair of glasses for this. There was a time when I never wore any glasses. Now I have to wear the glasses. Tvam mātuleyo naha Kṛṣṇa mitra-dhruṅ mam jighāṁsasi ataḥ tvam gadayā manda haniṣye vajra-kalpayā tvam mātuleyo na Kṛṣṇa mitra-dhruṅ mam jighāṁsasi ataḥ tvam gadayā manda haniṣye vajra-kalpayā tvam mātuleyo na Kṛṣṇa mitra-dhruṅ mam jighāṁsasi ataḥ tvam gadayā manda haniṣye vajra-kalpayā tvam mātuleyo na Kṛṣṇa mitra-dhruṅ mam jighāṁsasi ataḥ tvam gadayā manda haniṣye vajra-kalpayā. Anyone else? Tvam, you. Mātuleyaḥ, maternal cousin. Naha, our. Kṛṣṇa, O Kṛṣṇa. Mitra, to my friends. Dhruk, who have committed violence. Mam, me. Jighāṁsasi, you wish to kill. Ataḥ, therefore. Tvam, you. Gadayā, with my club. Manda, O fool. Haniṣye, I will kill. Vajra-kalpayā, like a thunderbolt. Translation. You are our maternal cousin, Kṛṣṇa, but you committed violence against my friends, and now you want to kill me also. Therefore, fool, I will kill you with my thunderbolt club. Purport. The Ācāryas have given the following alternate grammatical division of the third line of this verse. Ataḥ tvam gadayā manda, in which case Dantavakra says, "My dear Lord Kṛṣṇa, you are a manda, not foolish, and therefore with your powerful club you will now send me back home, back to Godhead." This is the inner meaning of the verse. This alternate opposite meaning that Prabhupada refers to here, saying that it is a grammatical division of the third line, is possible due to the Sanskrit rules of sandhi samasa. Sandhi, euphonic combination, or the merging of vowels between words. So it is not clear whether this is a negative or a positive. So it is both. It can be taken both ways. So we have here, on the one hand, Dantavakra saying to Kṛṣṇa, calling him a fool. Of course, I know of no way to be a greater fool than to call Kṛṣṇa a fool. I mean, that is about the most foolish thing anyone can do. But the inner meaning that Prabhupada brings out here is you are amanda, not foolish. In fact, he is the wisest. And he is sending Dantavakra back to Godhead. So this is the meaning of the verse that Prabhupada brings out from the Ācāryas. In grammar, there can be all kinds of things that enrich the assertions of Shastra. And to understand the richness of the Sanskrit texts is the job of Ācāryas, the job of teachers of Krishna Bhakti. Just as we have seen in this example here. An example of that would be, say, first in the first verse, the famous first verse of the Bhagavad Gita, right? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yoyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kim kurvata sanjaya. Ostensibly, the literal meaning is very clear. Dharma kshetre, on the field of dharma. So there's something sacred happening here. Prabhupada brings out that it is a pilgrimage place of pilgrimage. Dharma kshetre is the field of dharma. Kuru kshetre, on the field of the Kurus. The Kuru is the dynasty from which all these warriors come. Samaveta, assembled together. Yoyutsavaha, desiring to fight. Mamaka pandavaschaiva, so there are my sons, and my brother's sons. Kim kurvata sanjaya, how did they act, O Sanjaya? Yes, Prabhupada translates it as what did they do, and most people do. But this word kurvata is a past tense verb of the verb root kre, from which the word karma comes. And we normally translate karma not as doing, but as action. So here, Dhritarashtra is asking, how did they act, O Sanjaya? And as we know, in bhakti and in yoga, it is not so much what we do, although that is important, but it is how we do what we do. How we act. With what consciousness do we bring into our activities? This is what makes the difference. But let us go deeper into some of the Sanskrit that we have here in this verse. Just as Prabhupada is pointing out here, that there are deeper meanings to be mined to be dug up, to be unearthed. Dharma kshetre, kurukshetre. This is a magnificent juxtaposition, putting side by side this dharma kshetre, kurukshetre. So rich. The very first word of the whole Gita is dharma, which means one's essential nature, one's calling, one's essence, one's true nature. And kurukshetre, juxtaposed to kurukshetre, would then have this connotation, this subtle connotation of a conditioned nature, because this is a dynasty in which all of these warriors came. So this represents one's conditioned outer nature in juxtaposition to one's inner true nature. So right, not only just in the first verse, but in the first line of the first verse, we have the setup for the whole Gita. How do we deal with our true nature in relation to our conditioned nature? Our true inner nature in relation to our outer conditioned nature, which come together, samaveta yoyitsavaha, in conflict. These two are in conflict within us. It's in conflict on the battlefield, and it's in conflict in our own little battlefields. The whole point of the Gita is to show how these two can come together, not yoyitsavaha, but in harmony. That is the point of the Gita. So right there in the first verse, in the first quarter of the verse, is the very essential theme of the whole Gita. Oh, I think that might be my mother. Let her know I'm busy. So, marvelous. What one can realize with Sanskrit is amazing. It's amazing. Sanskrit can be taken different ways. So, for example, another verse in the Gita. As you know, Sanjaya relates Dhritarashtra's son's words, Duryodhana, who is leading the other side of the battlefield. And there is a double entendre in a verse, that is to say, two opposite meanings that can be taken at once. And that would be verse 10, where he says ostensibly, and of course any good warrior would want to pump up optimism. We are going to win. Just like in sports, we are going to win. Let's fight this battle. We're going to win. But sometimes hidden within that positive rah-rah is a nervousness that we may not win. So listen to this. He first says, unlimited are our forces protected by Bhishma, whereas limited are their forces protected by Bhima. So he's trying to show we have it over them, but this can be taken differently. It can be taken as inadequate are our forces protected by Bhishma, whereas adequate are our forces protected by Bhima. Adequate are their forces protected by Bhima. So it could be saying just the opposite. Now, you know, in Sanskrit you can do that. In English you cannot do. I don't know Hindi well enough to say about Hindi or other, and even Bangla. Yeah, you might be able to do it. No, not because you don't have the sandhi. So, but in Sanskrit you can say a positive thing and a negative thing at once. Very convenient. And even I've noticed in Indian culture, when I ask a question, someone may answer as acha, which in a way carries the positive and the negative at the same time. Isn't that right? Yes, I think so. Very confusing at times. Once I was in New Delhi many years ago, and I was trying to find a vegetarian restaurant. And I went up to the host of the restaurant. I said, "Is this restaurant veg or not veg?" And he said, "Yes." What do you do with that? You see, in the West, where I come from, we're simple, maybe simplistic even. We like yes or no. We like black, we like white. We don't like all those shades of gray and blue and red. We don't like all those shades. We like simple, like computer, negative charge, positive charge, right? But ancient Indian culture has known that reality is more complicated than that. Even vegetarian restaurants, they are also complicated, apparently. So even in the other book I translated, the Rasa Panchadhyayi, which you've already gone through, there are several verses where Krishna greets the gopis, the Vraja Gopikas, when they come out to the forest after he has played his flute and has called the gopis out. And he comes and he says to them immediately, "Welcome, ladies, what can I do for you?" Which is fine. He acts as if he didn't know they would be coming. And then he tries to say to them, in negative words, "This is a very dangerous place out here in the forest. You should return." But you can read the Sanskrit as saying, "You should not return because the forest is not very dangerous." He's saying both at the same time. I think I'll do that here. Someone will ask me, "Are you hungry? Would you like prasad?" I'll say yes, no. No, yes. Of course, I will always say yes, don't worry. So, and there are several verses following chapter 29 of the 10th canto, verses 12, 13, 14, and 15, several verses where Krishna is urging them to not be here. This does not look, and you have husbands at home, you should go to them. And yet he is saying in the same verse, "You don't have husbands at home, I am your husband. Because for I am in your heart." Who could be closer to that? Closer than that? What husbands are you talking about? Saying all of this, positive and negative, in the same verse. You can do in Sanskrit, you cannot do in English. You can only do in English with linguistic utterance accompanied by body language. So here is a double negative by saying a double positive. Yeah, right. You see? Double negative by saying a double positive. See, it's with tone and body language. If I say to Gaurangaji, "I really love you, Prabhu," ostensibly I'm saying I love Gauranga, but look at my expression, my tone, saying the opposite. But see, but that's not linguistic fully. It needs intonation and expression to give the negative. In Sanskrit, you can do both in the actual language. But I'm not going to give you all a Sanskrit lesson today. You'll be much relieved. In a way, this double meaning of Dantavakra's use of the word manda or amanda could express his ambivalence. We are sometimes conflicted beings. Because why? We have that dharma kshetra and that kurukshetra. We have an outer conflictual self, which will do something as bold as calling Krishna a fool, terribly bold. But then one's inner nature can understand that Krishna is the greatest non-fool. So there are so many ways to explore the deep meanings and levels of the rich Sanskrit verses of the Bhagavata. So I've done that for 5 of the chapters of the Bhagavatam in a publication I've published. So let me just, how long do we go? Okay, it's 9:15? Okay. So I'll leave time for questions. You also like that, right? Here, yeah. So why don't I just read on one next verse, because this purport is so short. Is that all right? Text 6, and go on, yeah. Then, O unintelligent one, I who am obliged to my friends will have repaid my debt to them by killing you. He's talking about killing Krishna here, okay? Killing you, my enemy disguised as a relative, who are like a disease within my body. Imagine thinking of Krishna as a disease within your body. What kind of consciousness this would have to be? Of course, this is Leela. We have to also see it in light of Krishna's playfulness in Leela. Purport. According to the Ācāryas, the word agya indicates that in comparison to Lord Kṛṣṇa, no one is more intelligent. Further, the word bandhu-rūpam indicates that Lord Kṛṣṇa is actually everyone's true friend, and vyādhim indicates that Lord Kṛṣṇa is the supersoul, the object of meditation within the heart, the one who takes away our mental distress. Furthermore, the Ācāryas translate the word hatva as gyatva. In other words, by knowing Kṛṣṇa properly, one can actually liberate all of one's friends. Now, this I don't quite understand, and I have to look into it more. How the Ācāryas can take the word hatva, which means it's a continuative or a gerund in Sanskrit, a verbal noun, which means killing, having killed. But they are saying they can take having killed to mean having knowledge of, knowing, having known Kṛṣṇa as. Instead of having killed Kṛṣṇa, having known Kṛṣṇa. So I don't know how they make that stretch. I'd have to look into that. So by knowing Kṛṣṇa properly, one can actually liberate all of one's friends. So this is beautiful. Friendship is very important in human society. Everywhere you see friends. On the way here, on that bumpy ride from North Mumbai, I saw people walking along together. Even on the motorbike, there are usually 2 people, not 1. Yesterday I saw 3 people. In Vrindavan, where I just came from, I saw 4 people on a motor scooter. To me, this was a miracle of Kṛṣṇa. How you can fit 4 people on a motor scooter is amazing to me. This you would not see in America. Companionship is so important to everyone. Even within the 5 rasas that I'm sure you all know, the Shanta, right? Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Sringara. It's in the middle. Have you noticed? Sakya rasa is in the middle. Companionship, friendship, mutuality, sharing equally, reciprocally. This is so important. The other 4 rasas frame the Sakya rasa because it is essential. In devotional life, we should seek true friends. Prabhupada talks about like-minded devotees. Like-minded devotees. So seek those who are like-minded and develop close friendship. This is very important. Whether you are grahasta, whether you are brahmachari, whether you are vanaprastha, whether you are sannyasi, It doesn't matter. Friendship is essential. In fact, even Rupa Goswami, after enumerating the whole set of rules and regulations and lists of signs of different levels of realization within bhakti, he tries to simplify and says there are really just 5 most important things in devotional service, in Krishna Bhakti, the life of Krishna Bhakti. And all of you know those, right? Why don't we yell out some of them? What is one of them? Chanting Harinam, right? Sriimad Bhagavad Seva, which one? Huh? Deity worship, yes, or Tulsi worship. They're interchangeable, yes. Good. Another? Association with devotees, right? Sadhu Sangha, right? And then Mathura-vasa, living in a place like Mathura, like here. But he said of all, even among the 5 most important things, Sadhu Sangha is the most important. This is the most important. Sadhu Sangha can also be taken, speaking of Sanskrit, it can be taken in 2 ways. It can be taken as a Tatpurusha Samasa in Sanskrit or Karmadarya Samasa. I'll explain quickly. Tatpurusha is the way it's normally taken, where the second member modifies the first. Okay? Sadhu Sangha, the Sangha of sadhus, the Sangha of saintly devotees. But it can be taken as a Karmadarya Samasa, Samasa meaning compound. Karmadarya Samasa means the first member of the compound modifies the second. Sumanta, this is your first Sanskrit lesson, right? Okay, good. He's going to be learning Sanskrit. It's good. Which can mean perfect coming together, perfect association. Association that's just right. You see, it can mean both. It does mean both. We should seek association that is balanced. We seek that naturally, but we may not be so conscious of it. So what if you have a friend to whom you bring prasadam over and over and over and over, and he never brings you prasadam? What kind of friend is that? There's no reciprocation. I say dump him. Get rid of him. I'm being a little facetious here, but what I'm saying is there needs to be a balance. Both persons within a friendship, in a relationship, must work to have a perfect connection, perfect mutual reciprocation. This is very important in devotional friendships, very important. And never to go too fast. The person not giving any prasadam or reciprocating is not the only one who is at fault. The person giving too much prasadam is at fault. He should back off a little bit and wait for the other to come to a more reciprocal place. When Rupa Goswami in the Upadeshamritam speaks about 6 exchanges, there are really 3 types of 6 exchanges, because each of the 3 has a going and a coming, something that's offered to another and something that's reciprocated. So this is very important. We have to learn that. It is wonderful that we are all so absorbed in Krishna Bhakti Seva, but within that Seva there are always bhaktas with whom we associate. And this is where we need to seek loving reciprocation, loving interactions. And this is the essence of community. Now, how I got all of that from this, I'll never know. I don't. Oh, Bandhu Rupam. Okay, there we go. Krishna is actually everyone's true friend. And that by properly knowing Krishna, one can actually liberate all one's friends. So today I'd like to make friends with all of you and I will liberate all of you. How about that? Do you like that idea? You're looking at me in disbelief. But we don't have to worry about who is going to liberate whom. Rather, we can enjoy one another's association. Macchitta magata prana bodhayantha parasparam. We become mutually enlightening to one another after we've gone internally and come to Krishna. Then we have something to share with others. And what happens when we start enlightening one another? Kathayantas cha mam nityam. We can't stop talking about it. And then what happens? Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. We become so satiated, so satisfied, and ramanti cha, we become exceedingly happy. That is our process. Bandhu Rupam. I'll stop there. Any comments or questions or additions, subtractions, corrections, disputations, refutations, whatever? Don't be afraid of me. I will not, I am harmless. I am harmless. I practice ahimsa. So, no worries. You have a question? Oh, yes, please.
You just raised the point regarding association of the devotees and sharing the 6 living exchanges mentioned in Upadeshamrita and taking the associations of equals. So that is a Purport. So whom we consider to be our equal? That is my question points. Is that sometimes that we are in equal age, or we consider to be the equals, or we consider that we are in equal consciousness, then we are considered to be equals, or sometimes our likings are equals, then we are considered to be equals, or on what basis we can think that we are equals? So,
good question. Good question. How do we know who is our equal? Of course, the word equal can be a little deceptive, you know. It's not so much that we are equal, because how can we measure? I always pity the devotee who gets the ghee lamp in the morning and is trying to look at who is most senior first, and he's nervously, oh my gosh, there's Garud Prabhu, uh-oh, I forgot. He's old devotee, and I gave the ghee lamp to some new bhaktas, so then they feel horrible. Oh, the poor fellow. I often thought that we should all have a chart on our chest with number of years. So on mine you can put 44, and then maybe some of you might be 2, maybe 3, maybe 20, see, and then you can go numerically, you see. One should not worry. Prabhupada said, I heard Prabhupada say, personally, just sitting a few feet from him, he said, on the dancing platform, he used to speak about the dancing platform, on the dancing platform, we are all equal. So it does not matter how many years or how few years, it does not matter if you are a man or a woman, a child, an old person, it doesn't matter. Everyone is equal. Before Krishna, we are all equal. And yet we are all special. That is to say, none of us are equal to one another. We're all unique, unduplicatable beings. So I think we need to dwell on that. And that if I meet you for the first time, I'm not going to sit here and say, so Prabhu, how long have you been chanting Hare Krishna? Okay, and then you tell me this. Oh, okay, I'm your superior. What is this? What kind of way is that to make a friend? Not that we actually do something like that, but first we should simply open our hearts and see what happens. See how we can begin to reciprocate with one another. If I find in this Prabhuji that he has so much to offer me, and I can learn so much from him, then in that way, in dialogue, I am at the Shravanam level, and he is at the Kirtanam level. So I am receptive, and he is actively offering knowledge to me. So in a way, in conversation, in samvadam, right? In dharmyam samvadam, in holy dialogue, he can be my superior. Why not? He is teaching me, he's telling me things. Even the person who took me to my room, all the way up, I don't know, 8 flights or something, I don't know. I got a lot of exercise going up through the guest house, by the way. Gauranga, okay? I want you to know that. Thanks for that. How Gauranga can make an old man like me climb so many flights with the bags and just... But hospitality is another issue. But seriously, reception and contribution are the 2 points of dialogue, right? So Mahaprabhu is going to Ramananda Roy and inquiring from him. Officially, Mahaprabhu is in the superior position, obviously. I don't need to tell anyone that, right? But he is inquiring from Ramananda Roy. So now Ramananda Roy is the so-called superior. So today when I asked the nice devotee who showed me the room, I said, "Where is my room?" He was my superior because I did not know where my room was. He knew where my room was. So it is not something that should be fixed. It's something that's fluid. It's in the moment. It's according to our relationship. That's the richness of Vaishnava Sangha. When devotees come together, you don't know all the beautiful things that can come together. So we should be open to that, rather than simply formulaically, oh, this is older devotee, I should respect him. Personally, I hate respect. I don't like respect. I like interaction. Does that properly respond to your question? Yeah? Okay, that's good. Yeah, he better say yes. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm his superior. That's right, exactly. Any other comments or questions from anyone? Yeah, or right behind, that's easy. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you were mentioning that in friendship, and one person is giving too much, so then he should withdraw. But
or back off. Yeah.
But then why? Because it's not always that in a relationship both are going to give equally. So why should the person who has that should withdraw if he's...
Good question. Good question. You know, I think that, again, relationships have their own logic. So if I'm befriending someone and I have a little bit more of a fatherly relationship with that person, so I might be more extending like a father to a son, even though it's a friendship. And but you see, even in that friendship, the kind of appreciation and love that is received by giving such gifts is the reciprocation. That is equal, you see? So it's not as though, let's say I am a very wealthy man, lots of money. So I give you money for bhakti seva. It's not that I expect the money to come back to me, right? Of course, if it's a loan, that's one thing. Then that's business. But if I give it to you as a gift, then you have your own way of reciprocating gifts. Maybe not with money, because let's say you're poor. But then you wait for hours for the Mahaprasad, and you bring me the Mahaprasad, which is priceless, you see? So it's not that the forms need to be the same to be equal, to be reciprocal, but rather it's a question of the degree of the offering of one's heart to the other person. And that takes different forms. So There's no formula here except an opening of the heart and extending affection to the other in a balanced fashion. Does that make sense? Yeah? These are complex subjects. Again, because there's no formula, it's a little more complex, you see. Sometimes we like formulas. But really, the heart defies formulas, ultimately. Even in the advanced stages of bhakti, there aren't any formulas for raganuga bhakti. You know? The way one feels and offers one's heart to Krishna, you cannot tell someone how they should feel, you know? We offer what we feel to Krishna, and He reciprocates. Ye yata mam prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamyaham. As they come to me, as they love me, I love them back. Bhajanti, you know? I worship them. As they worship me, I worship them. Wow. We worship Krishna, Krishna worships us. Now that's news. Yes, same word is used. Krishna is standing within our heart. He's situated there, as Prabhupada said in a purport. He is waiting for us. He says in the Gita, I love no one, I hate no one. I am impartial to all. But that's on an external level. Internally, He longs for us. He yearns for us. But He doesn't want to pressure us. Have you ever had a friend who just followed you around the place and just wanted to be your best friend and you just didn't like them at all? How annoying that is? So Krishna doesn't want to be that. He wants to wait, even wait an eternity if necessary, for us to turn to Him, to return His embrace. He is already embracing us from within. He is embracing us from without, as the Brahman manifestation and Virata Rupa manifestation. Now, He is simply waiting for us to return the embrace. Krishna Bhakti is about returning the embrace. That's what we're all about here. We chant the Maha Mantra to say, I am ready, Krishna, to return your embrace. Don't chant the Maha Mantra if you're not ready to return the embrace. That's pretty bad. If you say, I'd like to give you something, and then you say, oh, please, and I say, never mind. That is quite rude, huh? Let's not do that with Krishna. We're chanting the Maha Mantra. We are saying, Krishna, I am calling out to you because I am ready now to return the embrace that you have been giving me eternally, and I have never noticed. Is it all right? You can come back at me, you know. Okay, good. I think we have to, okay, one more maybe? One more? One more.
Hare Krishna. So in continuation to his question, so when we see in the Shikshashtaka prayers, Ashilashiva Padarta Pinashtumam, so in that mood of Mahaprabhu, that whether Krishna embraces me or he neglects me completely, so how do we understand that in terms of reciprocation?
Yes, very good. First of all, we know Krishna always reciprocates. Although Krishnadas Kaviraj says that verse in the Gita 4:11, Krishna fails the gopis. He doesn't know how to reciprocate their love. So sometimes there are these disparities that has to be caught up with. So that is why Mahaprabhu Gauranga comes, right? To finally reciprocate. So, yes, we may feel vacant, and we may feel Krishna's absence, but then that creates even greater intensity for His presence. So there is this dialectical movement between feeling a lack of friendship sometimes and a desire for more friendship. But it moves back and forth. It doesn't stay. If it stays as a lack of friendship, that means you don't have a friend. That's what that means. But if one desires to be closer and closer, sometimes one can feel the absence of a friend, just like an absence with Krishna, because that is the nature of love. We cannot be close enough to the beloved. When we love someone, we want to know them more. We want to be closer to them. So, unfortunately, that trite expression, absence makes the heart grow fonder, unfortunately, it's right. But what they don't tell you is that it doesn't stay absent. There's also Krishna's presence that must accompany the absence. And they go back and forth. And they intensify. And that is how Achintya Bheda is experienced existentially when we're speaking about a philosophical vision. The presence of God everywhere and the presence of God nowhere at the same time. The devotee feels intensely both, more and more as one performs Krishna Bhakti. So much so that it can even drive a devotee crazy, like Mahaprabhu. Our movement is all about the intensity of love. That is what makes our form of Krishna Bhakti stand out, is the intensity of love, which requires vipralamba and sambhoga. Yeah. I think I've gone over, so we shall stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.